Oh, I guess I'm supposed to come in there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We don't know what to call it. Crawl or something. Episode 8. I was calling it the base camp build, but we finished it. Kind of. Mostly. We might put power to it. Install the engine, motor, servo, stuff like that. Lots to do. I think part of it's going to be getting organized and showing off what we're working on, and maybe a walk down memory lane as far as the crawler thing that has happened to me over the last handful of years. Most of you guys know me as Pilot Ryan. There's a reason for that. I did nothing but fly airplanes for the longest time, worked in the business, made a bunch of content, marketing products for folks, whatever. Started this thing 2008, YouTube channel 2012. And I'm just going where it takes me at this point. So that's what's going on. How's it going, Bay Mob RC Club? Welcome to the show. One of these days, I'll figure out how to do the whole put it out there and promote it before it ever happens. But for 6 years with the airplane stream, I have just done it. I've been going live at 9 o'clock on Sunday or Saturday for 6 years on the airplane side, and started this thing on Thursday, 8 shows ago. I'm doing great. Thanks for coming to the show. We'll let the room fill up just a little bit, and then we'll just start talking about what we're working on. I've not seen you here before. Welcome. Did you see what brought you here? Was it the Facebook post? Because like I said, I've been doing the airplane stuff for so long. The truck thing has just been for me. I never had to make any videos on it really, but really have enjoyed it. And so here we are. And there's a handful of us here locally that are building these rigs and 3D printing bodies and just having a great time. Dad, what is happening? So this trimmers truck that I'm going to show off, I'm making for my dad, and I'm really, really falling in love with it. And I have the bits to make another one, so I definitely will one of these days do that. Is everything good on your side, people? So I want to get organized, because once you start fabbing up stuff, printing things, I've got a handful of projects in the works now. I got to stay focused. I printed off some more door cards today, and these are from an international travel all that I'm doing, but they're going to be really handy for a ton of stuff, especially when there are no interiors or door cards for them. I still got to clean a little bit of support, but oh, did you, Dad? Good. She's rocking these days. The original file was super thick, and it was easy to just kind of thin it out and print way thinner ones, way thinner than it's hard to tell. I should get the black ones. It'll make it easier. Yeah, way thinner. So that's going to be great. So we are having a blast doing this, and I fully expect to see some of my buddies popping in here. But we've been doing a base camp build every week, and now it's done. We'll show you that chassis and what it's probably going to go on. The geek look. Well, yeah, I've got to. Thank you, Raitza. I got to make a list, is what that's about. And I may set up the other camera just to even show off some of what I'm doing lately, so you can actually see it better. But I'll just clean these little baby supports off real quick. Right, so good to see you, man. I was surprised. Did you show up last Sunday? I interviewed Brian Phillips. I knew you'd be into that show. I didn't remember seeing you there, though. So check it out on the replay. We had fun with Brian and Megan. It was a good time. But yeah, I don't know what to call this show, because the minute you call it something, then it goes the other way. You know, I know what it's like to get stuck with a name, for sure, a little bit. So we're going to do inner fenders. You had fun listening? Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. So I think we'll just start with a little story, and then we'll just like kind of walk through these trucks. I'm going to do a little bit of a history. Not crazy, but on the crawler thing. I'm an airplane guy. I got the chance to do that 1941 Willys Jeep right at the beginning of pre kind of COVID. The Jeep took forever to come. Everything shipping, everything got crazy. Nice Jeep, but it's scale, 1941, World War II, Willys Jeep. I thought my airplane guys would like it. We like warbirds and stuff, World War II planes. And so that was going to be my first experience with a crawler at all. Because honestly, I didn't care. I thought, no way. Like, what is going slow about, So it never came. But I wanted to know what I was talking about and have something to compare it to. I didn't know much about crawlers, but I did have an opinion that this thing was so scale that I didn't think it'd be any good. And I didn't know. I still got it, dusty and all. But yeah, this is super scale. FMS, Rock Hobby, this is what they call 6 scale, but it's basically 10 scale wheelbase. But these are small in real life. So of course, 6 scale. Anyway, I didn't think it would do much. I didn't know anything about it, but that was my basic opinion. And while I was waiting for this to come in the mail, I thought it'd be a good idea to know what I was talking about, like to have something to compare it to. Dedicated crawler is a good choice. So I got, while I was waiting on that, I got the Axial deadbolt, the 10-2, because I like internationals. And it basically is an international or a Scout or a Bronco, you know what I mean? It's that kind of boxy stuff. I like it. So I got that while I was waiting on the Jeep. Loved it. I couldn't believe how much fun I had playing with it. And I was able to do it right here at the house. I didn't have to coordinate filming airplanes, which I love, but Didn't have to you have to be so intentional and you have to plan it and the weather's got to be right and all this stuff. So I was super surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And that was it. I rocked some stock ones. And then I got a couple, one at a time, but I got a couple. After the deadbolt, the next truck was either this International Scout I'm about to show you, or I think that's what it was. And then I got the 10-3 Rubicon when they came around. I don't have all this. I don't have the deadbolt. I don't have the Rubicon. The only two crawlers I've sold. What's up, Philip? Augured in. The Army Jeep is killer. I did a great video on it. RC truck playlist right here on the channel. There's not a lot on there, so it's going to be easy to find if you go to the RC truck playlist. I did a killer video on, if I do say so myself. I took it to 4 locations and I crawled that Army Jeep. And then later on, I did the small one they have. But I'm really proud of that video actually on the Willys. So check that out. I never did a dedicated video on the deadbolt, but you see the deadbolt running with that one. But I was actually super surprised how well that Willys Jeep did for as scale as it looked, based upon my not much of a reference for an opinion. But I really enjoyed. There's a whole different kind of filming as well, because I didn't have to coordinate. I didn't have to go with someone else. I could put a cell phone on a selfie stick or a GoPro, whatever, and make my own videos without bothering anybody. And that was kind of cool too. So we're going through the history of crawling right now for me. Let's do it. I just have little dinkus stuff I want to work on. No, I got to decide what kit to build next. I got to acquire that kit. But I've got so much going on. We can finish the projects that we have. So the next thing I got was this International Scout. And this is where the modification stuff started to happen. I'm going to fix the shot so we can see the wheels. And dust these things off. So this was the I think it was the second thing I ever got. And it was awesome. But this is when I started kind of paying attention to weight down low, wanting to change tires. At the time, I wasn't doing bead locks yet, but I bought some aftermarket tires and put on. These are totally different tires at this point. But I learned a lot on this one, and I'll tell you why. So this is where I started paying attention to the brass of it all, right? And I went stupid and bought every bit of brass, basically, you could put on one. Come on. Come on. She has laughed. He didn't, but do you not like him? So trying hard's cool. Everybody else, obviously, this one. Who knows what's making him tick? It's funny, but you gotta make friends with those dudes. Pardon, teenage kids. Dudes, I went nuts. I should bring out the other camera so I can show you the brass. It's stupid. Let me do it. While we're doing that, let me do that. This is fun, actually. Little walk down memory lane. This little truck ended up being super heavy and way expensive because I did a ton to it. And but a little bit of weight down low is all you need. I did way too much. Way too much. All right, let me send myself an invitation. A good first truck with a $200 price point, Ute. Man, I'm trying to think. I say go 10 scale, and you might have to spend a little more for it. What's the deadbolt right now? The 10-2, the deadbolt, the Axial deadbolt. They still are making it. What is it, 220 or is it 320? The base camp is what, 289? I think you can save $70 on it right now, though. At Horizon, the 10 scale. There was an email went out today. It was like $70 off the base camp. So I think it's like 210. The base camps, I keep building stuff and putting on base camp chassis. The only difference with the ones I'm building from kits is they are straight axle instead of portals. When you're new, I didn't care. Right now, I'm kind of liking the scale stuff, so I go for the straight axles, but it doesn't matter because it's all fun. All right, let me send an invite to myself. We'll pull up this other camera. And then I'm glad to answer your question. And look, I'm just sharing my experience. If I've converted a lot of people into a lot of planes and a bunch of plane dudes into vehicles, it just is something that happens when you see your buddies having fun. If you do go shopping, go to the description and click through if you think about it. But just keep on coming to the channel. I mean, that's really the deal. Let's see. So I think I already sent it to myself. 18 scale is good price, and so is 24 scale. I think for me, 10 scale is my favorite. I don't mess with the 24 scale stuff, really. A lot of people do. It's hugely popular. But all right. We're gonna have to do some microphone messing around, but it's okay. Mic is working. Good. And you got a kid about to turn 9. Crawlers are great because unlike a basher, the runtime you get out of one of these things is phenomenal. You like my super high-tech boom camera stand? Jenksville. We'll get this thing going. Okay, so Janky Town, without a doubt. I answered the invite. What's up? All right, it's gonna get stupid for a second, maybe. It still got stupid. All right, can you hear me? That's the question. Can you hear me? Let me know with a thumbs up or something. Okay. Hear you fine. Good. So this is way too much brass. And you can see it's everywhere. This is almost not high enough, is it? I did the outer portals, the knuckles, the link mounts, the diff cover on the front and the back. Stupid. And I put a Spectrum power system in it. Light kit, the whole thing. Changed the shocks. I did the Desert Lizard shocks. And at this point, it now has a interior, just a Lexan interior, and I changed the tires out, got bead locks, yada yada. Sassy brassy. So this thing is stupid heavy, and but it's awesome. And it was the first one I started doing modifications on. So that was interesting. I don't think I did a dedicated video on it, but it showed up in social and other videos, I'm pretty sure. I want to get this higher. I guess that's the stop. Huh. I know I had it higher before. Anyway, so that's that one. And it's the only crawler I really ever broke stuff on. And I attribute it to being way too heavy. So all that brass, I broke a axle maybe a couple times. I never liked the way this one sounded when it was running, but I think other guys are packing the diffs or the transmission with more grease, and it's fine. All right, after that, I wanted to see what Traxxas was about. So I got one of these. And I haven't done anything to this one at all. What's up, M Shag? I haven't done anything to this one at all. I did have other tires on it, but I put the stock ones back on it because I was going to sell it. It was a trade, actually. I was going to trade for a really nice RC four-wheel drive Toyota that was already patinaed up and everything. And I really enjoyed this. I did a video on this one. I think I did a couple, but I know I did one, at least one. And I thought it was pretty good too. And I planned on doing stuff to this, but it was so good out of the box that I didn't do anything but change the tires. Stock motor, servo, the whole thing. And this is Traxxas. And the ones that are easier to take the lids off of, I think I'll take them off and show you. I did have to fix the so this one has this, now a crawler like this is like $500. This one has locking and unlocking diffs. It's got the tabs that hide the body posts underneath, made as an integral part of the body cage work. And then it goes into the wheel wells. And I haven't done anything to these Traxxas trucks yet, except we did do a high trail to one time. And I've done light kits and stuff, but any of the modern, more lately recent things that I've been doing with 3D printed bodies and stuff, I have not yet done to a Traxxas. But just looking at it right now, it may not be awful. I like how it's laid out. I think you get rid of maybe the battery box and you can do it. Let's see. That you could put a battery here easily in the front. And the battery, like a 5000 2S or 3S, goes right there if you want. But if you're doing interiors and stuff, you can get rid of that. It's really kind of nice having these positions for rock lights. But yeah, this is where the body clicks into these bits on the inner fenders. And again, the locking and unlocking diffs, the servos that operate that are right there, and they go to the diff itself. And this has been submarined. It's been in the creek. I've crawled this quite a bit, as you may be able to kind of ascertain. Philip, I have to agree. If I were going to do little ones, that would be it. Ute, Axial, I would say is the most durable. The deadbolt or a base camp, you can't go wrong. And what those are way cheaper than the Axial version. The Axial, like $500 ones, have a lot of bells and whistles, inner fenders, things like that. But like the 10 scale base camp and deadbolt and honcho, all classics in their own right. So the Red Cat I just showed you and this Traxxas Bronco have portal axles. And I'm just curious. Yep, 13 about. Portal axles are gearboxes on each axle, which allows the center of the hub to be lower and not in line with the axle itself. So it gives you a little bit of clearance right here. It's cool. I like the scale stuff that doesn't have that these days. But yeah, I was going to sell these. I got a Defender also, a Traxxas Defender. I'll bring it up here. And I can't bring myself to do it. And I'm thinking worst case scenario, this body has been through it. Like I might repurpose this Traxxas because I keep printing bodies like crazy. I may repurpose this Traxxas for a different project down the road. But yeah, you know, when you spend the extra money, you get bells and whistles. Like with these, you get a 2-speed, you get locking, unlocking diffs, you get the inner fenders and rock rails. Pretty cool. They have a Sport TRX4 that's cheaper than these full suites. You know, these full ones you get. They're just over 300, I think, and it's the same truck. The only difference being you don't get locking and unlocking diffs or the 2-speed. But if you want a crawler that you also want to bash on, having that 2-speed is kind of cool. And if you put, and I've done, really check out the RC truck playlist. I'm proud of this one. I had a great time filming that. But yeah, after all it's been through, paint's starting to fail a little bit. I love the Bronco, young and old. I really dig how the new Broncos are a throwback to the early one in design. And so I had to have it. And they call this Cyber Orange. I would call it yellow, but I dig it. I dig it. So that's that one. Same thing. This is Traxxas. And I love Defenders. I love the box back. Yeah, I would like to do. I have not built a Traxxas yet. But yeah, their sport kit is. I mean, it's been around. People love it. There's tons of aftermarket for the Axial and Traxxas rigs. Red Cat as well. So this is really the same thing underneath. I'm not going to take the lid off of this one. It's got body posts, which make it a little harder to deal with, not by much. But this, look at I love Defender's Ute. Look at the hood. See that big gash in it? Thank you, Air Marshal. So we were in Alabama, and we brought crawlers with us because at the show they have a little crawler area too. And there were SCX6s. Bobby had his SCX6 with some bumper and hitch on it. And either somebody was driving it, and it backed right into this and gouged the hood out, or somebody who was driving this drove into it and gouged the hood out. But I gotta say, I would never do anything like that on purpose to one, but I can dig it. And if I was truly worried about it, I really don't Ute. The tires on this, I did upgrade them. These are Goodyear MTRs and nice bead locks. But otherwise, completely stock situation, except I did add the lights. This one does have a chunk of brass on the front diff. I usually, there was a time where I would do that to both diffs, or at least the front one. This one does have metal drive shafts. I did change them. So these are really nice MIP drive shafts. And it's hard to make sense maybe of what you're seeing with this shop being so stupid tight. But that's the front drive shaft spinning. You see the spline, and there's a tiny bit of rust. But these are really nice MIP drive shafts that were made for this rig. And so I did it. But I love the Defender. I love the Defender. I had an RC four-wheel drive Defender, but I should have got this one. Look at that gash. Yeah, I don't want to get rid of this one yet. I have to get more than you want to give for a used one. That's the thing. There's no way it'd be worth it for you. I just can't. I can't right now. So that's that one. And it does amazing. It really shouldn't do that great because of what it is. And it made it into a bunch of social media content for me. If you scroll through Instagram, there's some really fun sped up and on the 2-speed, jump in the snow, slow-mo kind of stuff going on with it. But maybe we can talk. Now, one of these new is like $5. If you were going to pop, you can go to, of course, Traxxas.com, or you can be cool and click my A-main link, which I'll have to send you because my website is gone. But whatever on that. But yeah, this is cool. It's a classic light kit and everything. Yeah, they're 5 new. There's another 150 at least in the tires, and then the light pro scale light kits are like $100. I'm emotionally locked into some of my stuff. The trucks are interesting because there was never any pressure. I have chosen it all. So there's this Land Rover and there's that green one back there, but we're kind of going in chronological order right now. I hope you guys are having fun. I am. So while that all was happening, I can't remember what was first. If it was the what's up, honey Chuck? I can't remember what was first. If it was the Rubicon or this early Bronco. I think it was the Rubicon. Like I said, I had the Axial 10.3 Rubicon Jeep. It's like my SCX6, which is down on the floor. But it's 10 scale. It's gone. It's still in the family though. Like one of my buddies has it. So then they released, this was my first straight axle kit. It wasn't a kit, but ready to run. And this is discontinued. You can't really get them anymore. This is the Axial 10.3 early Bronco, they called it. And it is, again, like I said, my first straight axle truck. Everything I had up to this point had been portals. And again, I love the boxiness. Every one of these things, I've hardly anything's on stock wheels, but this one's not. I put a driver in it. It doesn't come with one. But one thing I noticed about this one, and I paid attention. A lot of guys think they like the look of something jacked up, super tall, but the fact of the matter is they don't crawl good. Like this one out of the box, set like this. And I dropped it about a ½ inch for free. And the way I did that was, I talk about this kind of frequently. The shocks are at this moment sharing position with the links, but they have their own perch above that. So for free, I dropped the truck ½ inch, and there's a chunk of brass on the front and on the back. I'm still on a brushed power. I haven't really upgraded anything. I changed the servo because I burnt one out. And of course the tires are different, but this is a stock 10.3. It's a killer rig. And again, my first straight axle rig. So had to crawl it quite a bit differently. And you can see it's really been through it. And you have to kind of bash it through things to get over it. But I love it. The only thing I wished is that it had the doors and the top, which I may be able to recreate down the road since I have a 3D printer and stuff. So another Axial 10.3. I really like it. Again, you can't get them now. But I remember first time I saw one, I ordered this one right away. And first time I saw one, it was at RC Fest. And so people, like I said, the ride height was here. People were crawling these and they were tipping over like nuts. And when I got mine, I noticed that the shocks, can you hear me? I noticed that the if I had 4 longer screws, I could move the shocks for like free and drop the truck. So drop the truck. I put what I call deep dish bead locks on it, and which widens the track of it. You can see it's wider than it would have been. I did change the grill on this one like a week ago. That couple chunks of brass, dropping it a 1/2 inch, and I made a truck that sucked really good. I will be out running this with guys who have like, buggies and built up real performers, and I can keep up, which is kind of fun. I loved that's, I think, what grabbed me about this was the challenge of making something that maybe out of the box left a little to be desired. So early Bronco, I couldn't pass it up. I've been offered $350 for this. Nope. Nope. But I tell you, probably if I were to get rid of something, I just won't. But this is stock motor still. I did change the servo. It's actually got a Traxxas servo in it because this one's been submarined and through the creeks and all that stuff too. I think the bottom really tells the story, but there you can see the diff, has been, but it's not bad. And again, the bumper really gives it away too. Fred's got most of these, I think I've talked about. But yeah, so the customization thing, it's been easy because I really dig, and I do like the 10.3s, and I do like trucks that have inner wheel wells and rock rails and stuff like that. You know what? I'm just curious real quick if this fits. I have these things I printed, and I think they fit if you lose the rock rails. I don't want to lose the rock. Ooh, those actually, no, they don't. They want to work. What's holding it up? The rock rail is what's holding it up. So these work to see how smooth that one is, and then the other side is stock. I printed these off. Now, if I were to get rid of the rock rail, these would sit down even closer to the skid, but it's like, why? Why would you do that? Just leave it. If you get a stock rock rail that's working, just leave it. So that's the thing. Half the time I print stuff and I'm like, it's not going to work. All right. So that's that. The Bronco. What I get next? I think the next thing that I can think of in the timeline is after all that messing around, I decided I was ready to build a kit. And so I got the Vanquish Phoenix. And this was my first body I ever painted. And it's overkill patina, but it's the first body I ever painted. And first kit I ever built. And I'm pretty tickled with it still. Spectrum power system in this one, and it's nice. Probably could have a little better servo, but it's all right. So the Vanquish kits are really nice, and this one is a portal version. As soon as I was done with this, they came out with the straight axle version. But this was modeled after Fabrats on YouTube, full scale shop, garage, build it, show. They do recoveries as well. So this is modeled after his FJ. And which leads me into one of the next projects, which I'm actually super pumped to have back because it was gone. We'll talk about it when we get it out here. See you later, Kenny. Thanks for coming, man. So yeah, Vanquish kit, amazing. Their transmission and motor position is as low as you can get it on the chassis without hanging below flush. So the motor and the transmission, the bottom of the motor and transmission mounting is right there. It's the skid. So what an awesome kit this was. To build. It's got a transmission that has two different overdrives and a dig. This was my first kit, and it had all that stuff. The transmission was a deal, and I had no idea what to do. But let's look at the bottom of this one real quick. Portal axle, nice and tight, bumper for crawling. And there's that skid, which is the bottom of the transmission plate. And the body hinges here at the front. And then you can see the body tabs in. There's little posts and right there, but no pins. And then on the back side, you can see body clips, again, out of sight, which is great. This thing is tough. It's been around and it's not going anywhere. That's my Vanquish. And again, super inspired from the Fabrat show. This, for the longest time, this was the best crawler I ever had. Steering rate on this, oh, it's nuts. It's more than 45. What can you do if your crawler steering is hitting a control arm? You can turn down the steering rate a little bit. It's SCX 10. 10, just SCX 10, 10 1, 10 2, 10 3. But yeah, this thing's got some pretty wicked tires on it now, too. Yep, FJ45. I like some Toyotas. So I was watching that Fabrats channel, and they restore all kinds of things. They did that channel, and Matt's Off-Road Recovery went out into the wilderness and dug this golden nugget, old school Suzuki, out of the woods. Jeep Wrangler 2017. So not Cherokee. So that's the 10-3, right? Rubicon. What color is it? Need to run it. Endpoint. Yeah, sometimes you can do it on the steering rate. Sometimes you can do it if you put it on a good radio. You can do it there with the travel adjustments. All right. So after watching Fabrats, I saw them, those channels, do this golden nugget. And FMS came out with the 6, they call it 6 scale, but it's basically a 10th scale wheelbase, that Jimny, that 1.6 Jimny. Hold on. I want everybody to like it. Don't be a dick. If you have it coming, fine. You know what you do? Hop his ass. Get him. I ain't mad at you. I just don't, I want people like you. I don't want you to get dick. But defending yourself, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Love you. Okay. That's the body that comes on the 1.6 scale Jimny from FMS. Now we're starting to really get into where we're at right now. That's what it comes with. And so the golden nugget is it's like this truck, but it has the doors and top and everything. I'm like, man, I want that. And also, you'll see in a minute. Hold on. Bro, I'm so glad I have this back. I thought it was gone forever. Dudes. This is the... I got to cut the light just a little. This is the golden nugget. My favorite crawler, that is a very tough question. This is the FMS Suzuki Jimny modded up, built doors in the back. I did this with a friend, Tony, who did the styrene work. This is before we were 3D printing at all. He did the doors for me. I did the paint. I stripped the thing down. The FMS Jimny does not come on a lift like this. The axles are out of the box on the other side of the leaves. So first truck I really modded, where I flipped it, did all kinds of stuff, moved the servos so the geometry didn't get bad when I put a lift on it. And this was the first truck that I really modded. And another, this was right after the FJ45. You can almost kind of tell 179 for the Jimny right now. Oh my gosh. I love the chassis. It's the best cheap leaf sprung chassis. I've done like 5 Jimny projects now in other things. We're going to go through it. I don't have a kit build, just nerding out. So I just got this back from Tony, and it was hilarious because I thought it was gone forever. I saw him at the swap meet. He had it under the table, and I was surprised to see him and just everything. So I got it back. And like I said, when we did this, it was before 3D printing that we were doing. And so the one thing that bugged me to death was this thing looked amazing, but the top was perfectly flat. Tony did a great job, but it was made out of a piece of, it was totally flat. And so I printed this off. And it's like this week I printed this off. So this is and what's funny about this is it came from a truck that's way smaller and narrower, but with 3D printing, I'm able to size it, scale it, stretch it, and stuff. So I just got this back. The doors are just sitting there. I got hinges. I need to print off bigger ones. And, but this is the FMS Jimny, and it was the first one that I really had ever done the mods. See, I told you they weren't really on. That I'd really ever done the mods to. And I learned a lot doing that. And actually, because of all the things I've learned since I've been messing with the Jimny chassis, actually, you know what? We'll show you. I just ripped the roof off last night. So dude, if I turn upside down, the seats aren't bolted in. I'll show you on a different truck because I have other trucks that it's been done to. But I can get this lower still. And this has big monster 2.2 Patagonias on it. But yeah, again, inspired by, you'll see a theme. I was inspired by a YouTube creator, a bunch of creators that were doing that golden nugget. And when they restored it, they painted it super nice and shiny. But when they pulled it out of the woods, it looked rough like this. So that's kind of what I preferred. So that's what I did. I'll never do that blind. So, all right, let's get this one out of the way. So this was the first Jimny mod job that I had done. And it was me and Tony did it. He killed it on the doors and everything. And I did the paint. But he made these doors. There's no 3D printing at all, I don't think. It's styrene and wood. And then just now, this week, I 3D printed the roof. So yeah, I ripped off. It was actually, I'm surprised I didn't break things when I ripped off the, yeah, magnets and latches, whatever, hinges is going to all help like tremendously. But I'm over the moon to actually have a roof that's got a profile to it. And gotta love that. It's not bad. Not bad. It's the real one doesn't hang over much either. So I'm super over the moon about this and glad to have it back. But yeah, the roof is big compared to the international that it came from. This is fun. So after that Jimny, I got another Jimny chassis and did this. I did this. (1970s) Tonka truck. And I've actually seen at this point now a handful of people have done these online. I initially was going to put this on a Red Cat chassis, but realized it was so heavy that it would have to have 8 shocks on it. And I'm like, what better to not have to cut the floor up like crazy than to throw it on a leaf sprung chassis. Oh, Bill, the same way I made that roof work for the Golden Nugget, I'm going to stretch it out and probably put it on here. Yeah, you're already right. Over in the printer, yeah, I'll make it. So this one, now I've seen guys do these, and the whole, bro, when you make a truck, you want to be up as tight as you can be to the chassis and everything, or it just looks goofy to me. This thing is so heavy. So this is the Jimny chassis. And most of the time, I will pull all the leaves except the long one and the short one. But this truck being so heavy, I didn't need to do that. I did put the axles underneath the leaves to get the ride height. I got smaller, like 4.19. These are like 1.7s or 1.55 rims. And I think they're like 4.19 tires because regular 4.75s are too big to fit in the arches. But got this figured out, cut off all the old axles, and then only had to cut a hole in the very front to receive like the motor and stuff. And I wired this for lights. So I was able to keep the original plastic lenses and used heat shrink and wired and silicone and put lights on this thing. And you can see this driving too. On the RC truck playlist, there's a video where we were at the fun park. There was a bunch of us pulling trailers, and this was pulling one also. But yeah, so this is Jimny project number 2. Yeah, Jimny project number 2. So that happened probably after Golden Nugget happened, because I'm getting hip to like, hey, I like this leaf sprung deal and being able to move them. And nowadays, I'll slide wheelbases wherever I want it with this same kit. I'll drop the shackles and all of that and make it what I want. A lot of times I'll drop these mounts, but not the front or the far aft, and it brings the pinion angle a little less severe, but these have been fine. So these are the tires that came off of a RC 4-wheel drive FJ55 builder's kit also that I built, but it's not yet in the chronology. So yeah, this is and I was able to keep the whole inside. I only had to cut one bit of the plastic, and I had big plans to do more with the interior, but you can see I just had to accommodate a little bit of stuff. The motor, that's it. And the FMS transmissions, dude, they are so sick. They are just a little extension onto the can itself, that black bit. So there's nothing in the way. It's like so good for I think scale builds. I keep now this one I just left it on the brushed motor the truck came with. It's what it is. But every other Jimny project I've done lately, I think the Golden Nugget still has the brushed motor, but I threw a Spectrum that combo ESC deal in it. So my Golden Nugget is actually on a good radio. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, mount the ESC, run the lights, keep the stock motor. And now I don't have to buy a whole nother Winnebago. I got this at a garage sale. I don't have to buy a whole new. These guys, if you look at these on eBay, they want a lot for it. If you just want the roof, you could buy a whole truck for what they want for the roof. The cool thing about the stock roof is that it's actually an awning as well, so you can play dolls. I'm not worried about that too much. So, but I got to tell you, it was nice having, when we did take this out on the trails, dude, coffee fits in there perfect, tools fit in there, camera. Like, this is like a toolbox on wheels. Totally crazy. So now I can print my own roof for $10. And again, RC Truck playlist. This should be on a thumbnail of one of the videos where we were running at the fun park, and you can see this thing working. So I'm starting to feel my own on these Jimny chassis at this point, you know. So after the Winnebago, all right, we're getting there. We're getting there. After the Winnebago, the next thing that I had to have was another Toyota. And it's this one. FMS 6 scale FJ40. I like me some Toyotas. And this comes out of the box as a 4-link, regular kind of crawler style. But it's FMS, and they sell a leaf spring kit. And I know how to do it already because it's the same. This is the same chassis as the Jimny, except they went ahead and 4-linked it. And they also had the axles to give it clearance, not so low like on the Jimny. And so Kelly and I both did the same thing to these. So when we got these, we did the leaf spring modification on this. And it's a Jimny chassis, again, with the FMS delivering super scale. These doors open. Bob Ross is driving. All of the interiors up at the hood open. And this one, Fred turned me on to some inner fenders. Let's see. I moved it, didn't I? I'll show you the motor situation. You can see the inner fenders right there, and the motor and that transmission from FMS, nice and tight. Got rid of the stock ESC and junk, and it's Spectrum, nice and tight, just super dynamite. Hobby wing motor on this one, and it's dusty because we were running it. I put the jack on it. Kelly printed me this. Basically, it's a stock truck, except for the fact that I did the leaf springs. And I am such a baby with that thing that I'm going to flip it over. But I want my bandana, man. I got a bike and a sleeping bag in the back right now. But so when you get this, it does not have leaf springs on it. It's got a 4-link. And you can almost kind of tell right there that I dropped the position to low. I'm all about lower in these trucks to get better performance. I changed the tires. I changed the drive shafts. These are metal drive shafts. They're RC four-wheel drive shafts. You can see where it looks chamfered there. That's where I had to cut them, and then I ground them down. So nice and smooth. And this is my trailer hauler. Like, this thing is pulled more crawlers than it's really crawled itself. But for leaf sprung, we made it work, and it's pretty good. So it's got leaf springs instead of the 4-link now, and I really love it. And if you're gonna pull a trailer, it's nice having a leaf sprung kit. So this is the Jimny. Change the tires, Goodyear MTRs, change the rims, put hub extensions on it because I wanted to get the track wide without being crazy, but wide. So this beautiful body wouldn't fall over and break these mirrors all the time. So that was next in line. And what's really hilarious too is that all this stuff is super scale and it opens up and just looks amazing. But the steering wheel turns. So Bob is holding on to the steering wheel. And it's not like articulated, like super slick, but he's moving when it steers, which is kind of interesting. And I know what fell out. It was that little window thing, part of that 3D print I bought. Yep. From Fred turned me on to. So the only other little mod I did was I cut out this was solid yellow. So I cut that out to make it more scale. And I got some where it says diesel on there. It's a little metal placard I bought. And I bought the emblems on the back, the Toyota and the 4-wheel drive. It comes with its own, but they were like way too big. So I love that stuff. And I kind of intended on weathering this one up and stuff, but I never really got around to it. And I'm so enamored by its looks that I just don't know if I want to mess with it. But I got a sleeping bag in there, a bike, another bedroll, and a bike in there. I got to put them somewhere. Yeah, Kelly made this for me. And it's full interior. I mean, seats and everything. And this crawler is like $350. And it's dynamite. And the Michigan that they have that I got from a friend, couldn't believe it, as a gift. It is the same Jimny chassis as this and that and the Winnebago. And I did the same thing. I did a live stream one day. It was like 4 hours worth of putting the leaf spring kit on the Michigan. I did it live. This one I did not do live. But yeah, so love this dude. FJ40. I like me some Toyotas. And the little bit of wheel extension I put on there and the wheel choice, dynamite. And because it's leaf sprung, it doesn't squat like stupid if I'm pulling a trailer. And this thing has done it. I haven't done a dedicated video on this. There's a handful. I mean, there was never pressure with these, which is, I love that. Gotta love the scale bits. Love the leaf springs, believe that or not. And I think after that, look at all this dirt. Got dirt? Yep, I do. In my veins. After that, this is another FMS rig. They call it the Mashkin because they don't want to call it a Jeep. And again, this is another one of theirs that comes 4-linked. And they offer a leaf kit. It's the same leaf kit. It's the same chassis as the Jimny. So we're on 1, 2, 3, 4 Jimny chassis that I've done major mods to so far. I change the tires because it's what I do. This thing is awesome too. It does need a little help to keep the door shut. That's it. But I did the leaf spring mod on this. This was a gift from a great friend. And I'm fairly certain I put Spectrum in that as well. I kept the motor brushed, but if you get that Spectrum 2-in-1 ESC for brushed motors, you can put it on your Spectrum radio, and all of a sudden a kind of crappy ready to run can be programmed out and really be made to perform well and not be jumpy and jerky. That's why folks change the power systems. It's not for speed for the most part. It's just to have that low throttle authority without being a nuisance and jumping all over the place. So again, another Jimny chassis. And I did the leaf sprung kit on this one. And it's in really good shape. And I did the thing where I drill, the leaf springs mount there, drill a new hole, drop it. I do it like every time. And on one of these I'm getting ready to show you, I've done the most to it. And that's my 5th Jimny chassis that I'm going to show you in a minute. So I love all these trucks. I'm looking at the floor of this and I'm thinking, do they offer the floors as a spare part? Because I could use them. And yeah, so one of the things I do when I do the leaf spring kits is I never use all the leaves. I use the big one and the small one. I use the small one because it's not going to get in the way of enabling articulation. Look, I mean, it's pretty good. It doesn't get in the way of enabling articulation, but it also eliminates the need for me to worry about having an anti-wrap bar on it. So that's what I do. I pull all the leaves out except for the biggest one and the little one. Super scale interior, super nice. Another FMS truck. And it's got Endure rims and tires on it, which are really good. Affordable bead locks and wheel rubber for not a lot of money. This is, except for the leaf springs and the tires, this is basically it. But I just love that it doesn't sit up like this. That little bit I do, this helps to me, the looks of it. Cool old Jeep. Square headlights, big bumper, super ton of space for a winch right there, easily. Yeah. Super nice. And the Willys is FMS as well. So man, but it's before the leaf spring deal. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 FMS 10 scale ish rigs in here. All right, so after the Michigan, they released, what's up, man? The Axial CJ7. So there's a couple things I like about crawling. The building, but the crawling as well. Until the CJ7 came along in my fleet, the Vanquish FJ45 was the best performing crawler I had. Now, when I got the CJ7, it very much is the same wheelbase and design style as the early Bronco that I showed you with the straight axles from Axial. So I knew what I was getting into, and I knew that I could also do the drop it a ½ inch for free with 4 screws mod. So I changed the tires right away, like I always do. The Mickey Thompsons that came off this are actually on deep dishes on my early Bronco right now. So I go for the Patagonias. I dropped the shocks to the share with the link position. And for instead of buying 90 millimeter shocks, I can make 100 millimeter shocks act like they're 90s, basically. So 4 screws, 4 washers. I move it down, and most of the ready to runs, there's a few I've changed the motors and servos in them. This one, I did. I put a hobby wing in this like right away. So this has the brushless 1800 kV fusion in it. It's got a Eco Power servo, which is okay. A little better than stock. And again, I lowered it. And Homeboy rides in it really perfectly. And Night Customs has 3D files that are coming out really soon to completely dress out the interior. Even more scale. So with the lowering that I did and the brass and I didn't do brass on the diff, but I started to, instead of doing brass on the diffs, what I've been doing is getting either running deep dish, but also brass rings. For the clamp ring, I'll go with brass rings on the front too. And the articulation on this thing is just absolutely. Mike Bird, yeah, the Red Cat with all the brass. That was like the second truck I went up. We're doing the timeline of my trucks today. There's only 2 of them, maybe 3 of them I don't have anymore. But yeah, this is absolute wicked machine. And I still don't know which one is better performer, this one or the FJ45. They are both amazing. Fred says he did the Ryan lower it for free mod on his CJ, deep dish offset rims and lots of scale bits. Yeah, yours looks awesome. One of my favorite rigs, this thing. And I generally will complain about not having doors and the roof and all that stuff, but the Michigan kind of fits the bill for me on that. And I just had to have the red one. So this is the newest RTR I've got. But since then, I've built 2 base camps, and I'm working on another Jimny truck, which we'll show you in a minute. So we're having fun tonight. There's nothing to really build. Just going over this stuff was a blast. Love you. Oh, I forgot. So before I got the CJ7, or at the same time, I wanted to do a kit. But really what inspired this purchase was I was thinking about when I had the FJ40 putting different axles and stuff on it. And I was like, well, the RC four-wheel drive Trailfinder 2, people use those all the time for scale builds. Let me see if those RC four-wheel drive axles will work on the FMS FJ40. But my dilemma is, what happens when they don't work and you have axles you don't know what to do with? I don't think these days I'd have a problem with that, but back then, which wasn't long ago, I thought, well, they were selling this kit kind of cheap because RC four-wheel drive does a lot of hard body stuff. So this is Lexan, but it was a builder's kit, and it was the long TF2 builder's kit. So I built this from a kit, every bit of it. I did a ton of add-ons to it as far as the rock rails and the floor panels, and I've changed the tires out. I got the metal bumpers, whatever. But again, it's another Toyota. This is the Iron Pig. And it's Lexan, so they assume you're going to paint it on the inside. I'm like, nope, because I like patina stuff. And I didn't want to patina this one crazy, but I wanted to a little bit. So I have just a little bit on this one. It comes with all the scale handles and mirrors and louvers and junk that you have to, install. And it's a 2-piece interior. And I thought it would be cool to, I can take this body off. I thought it would be cool to do upholstery on the seats on this one. So Marty McFly is driving this one, and the interior is fabric. There's a fabric floor in there, and then the bench seats are cow print because I'm nuts. And then the back is just a weathered kind of tailgate, and it's a false interior, but it's not. It should be a little lower, but it's got really nice emblems that came with it as well. You can see the Toyota emblems right there, and those are like metal that you glue on, which is cool. But all the bits that I screwed on, the handles, the mirrors, the louvers, the lights, the bezels, super shiny chrome, goofy. So I used that Nuln oil on all that stuff, and looks pretty good. The grill looks good now, and the marker lights and stuff were clear, and I just used like the kids' markers and stuff to make them orange and red when it needed to be. But that's that. And then this kit was awesome to build. It's leaf sprung, as you can see, as well. But these axles weren't going to work on the FJ40, so I was like, oh, bummer. I get to build an FJ55 then, because I got the whole kit just to get the axles, because I didn't want to be missing any of the bits, like the way the shackles mount and all that stuff. So this kit now has a Fusion in it, and I bought like I said, the metal bumpers, inner fenders, rock rails, the floor, and it all really brought it together, because the stock bumper is just plastic. It screws on the back of the Lexan. I'm like, that's kind of chintzy. And so this is clean little scaler. And again, I removed most of the leaves on this one too. What did I keep? Just the big ones on this one. Just the big ones. Yep. And it's got the Fusion and another Eco Power servo. And this is a nice running truck. Spectrum radio. So yeah, that's pretty slick. I really like this one as well. So a handful of kits at this point have happened to me. Oh, nice, Big Jim. You got the 24 scale. And I like how the body posts are hidden on this. It's a little tricky getting the body on, but not too bad. It's a little better if you can see and you don't have stuff in your face. And I did what I usually do on Lexan, where I did the rust color on the inside. Thank you, Jim. I did the rust color on the inside and then my paint on the outside. Yeah, I'd like to do a Baja something or other. A bug would be cool. And there it is. Had to have rock rails for all the trouble I put into this Lexan body. I'm like, I gotta have rock rails. But I use this off-white and this kind of greeny aqua blue stuff a lot. And these are Patagonias as well, but they're a smaller version. And like I said, this is the truck, the smaller tires that are on the Winnebago, so they fit in the arches. Those tires on the Winnebago are what came with this kit. But I wanted little pats on here, so that's what I did. Have I ever had a Capra? No. I had the little one for 5 minutes just because I tried one out at the shop. I love you. I love you. I love you. So yeah, this was happening, CJ7, FJ40, kind of all at the same time, in a way, in the old basement. And then nothing happened for a while until I built a base camp kit. And I didn't really have anything to put on it. I was going to put the Morvair from Matt's Off-Road Recovery on the base camp. But then my buddy Kelly handed me fully labeled out Ziploc bags full of parts to build a Land Rover body. Which I finished everything last night except the door cards. So this was my first 3D printed assembly. And we have Kelly to blame for this stuff. And this came in, I mean, it was bags of parts, but it's on a base camp chassis. So this is basically a Boom Racing Land Rover body that somebody had the files for. Kelly printed it off. It's designed and intended to go on a leaf sprung chassis, but I thought it would be cool to put it on coilovers. And so now I've got this Land Rover, and these are kind of smaller tires too, which I love for this. Now I've got a Land Rover that articulates like an Axial, because it is an Axial. I don't need bump stops because the wheels bump stop in the arches. And I had a lot of problems to solve to make this body attach to the base camp. and to also get the wheelbase right, which I am in love with how this falls on the arches. And I think we nailed it. And I can 2 screws, 2 body posts, the whole body comes off, but I made it where I can put a little 1300 or 1100 battery in here in the hood, and it's running on a Fusion tube. The hood is magnets. And how do you have magnets on the hood and adjustable posts for the closure? You use drywall screws. That's what you do. Let's show you. Let's show you real fast. So there they are. One right there and one right there. And there's a floor in there for the battery, but it's clear. It's hard to see it except for the shine. And I ran lights in this. It's got it. But last night what I did was I did only have the front window and the back windows. So I got all the side windows done, and one of them's cracked a little bit. And I dig it. I can't wait to show you the interior. So I bought some of the emblems, and I bought metal bumpers for like the Boom Racing and modified it to fit. So we were crawling these forever without any bumpers, but now I've got a metal bumper on the front, little Land Rover emblem there on the grill. You can see, again, thanks to the little girls who have markers so I can do lights. These rims from Boom Racing are amazing because they're reversible. So you can go deep dish or you can go pedestrian offset. And I chose the pedestrian offset, but it's basically 2 options in one with the Boom Racing, these particular sets of rims, beadlocks from Boom. And again, these are smaller tires, like 3.98 or something, instead of 475 or 419. I love the back bumper, and it was a big deal to do. There's a big chunk of wood back there, but you can kind of see how the bodies, there's the roof that I wire tie on usually. You can see how the body chassis lays flat against the floor. I was able to keep the skids, and it's all tucked away as under flush as it could be. And I love the emblems back here, the bumper, and my fake license plate I made from the kids found $50 bill. And so I thought it would be cool to make a license plate out of that. But I love the little emblems stuff on there. But the bumper, and I put the mud flaps on there. I have not crawled this since I did the windows and the bumpers. The windows were last night. So was the interior. So I glued in the seats last night. And you can see the white kind of peeking through under this rear shop tower. That all, wherever you see white, was a big gaping hole inside the truck. I cut styrene to fit last night, and now that's what's going on. And you can see a Subway gift card on the floor covering up another spot. And now it's got seats in there and a steering wheel. But all that junk in the back, it was way opened up. So now I got looks like a fairly legit little floor in there. And the steering wheel on the wrong side, like they like to do over there. And generally, I just wire tie the roof on. Through those little tiny slit windows. I'm going to do something else. Probably kind of make a tongue and groove situation and use some magnets so I can actually do the windows on this roof. But it's got the sunshade on it, and it's getting blown out right now. The subway floor mat, like, yeah, so good. The sunshade's kind of cool, adds some dimension to it. But that is my first base camp kit I built, and first 3D printed body that I had ever put on one. Love the license plate, dude. And again, these were all clear lenses. So thanks to the girls for some nail polish and little orange Sharpies. And I love these little tires on here. This thing performs stupid good. And the base camp kits are straight axle, which is nice. For scalers, you know what I mean? But yeah, these windows, I'm awful with the glue, but that's okay. I'll do some black stuff to kind of trim it out. But those windows all slide. So that's why you see that slit down the middle. I put them on the way they're supposed to. They don't slide, but they're offset like as if they could. And I wasn't, again, my first 3D printed assembly, I didn't sand anything. I didn't do any filling on this one. So I went with a dark green flat or matte paint. And I just kept building it up, painting it satin green. And that's what it is. This thing is pretty good. Then, how are you guys doing? Dude's got some crawlers right now, huh? We're almost done. So then we started this show 8 weeks ago where we were doing the base camp build. I already had a start on Dad's trimmer truck at that same time. So the Willie's wagon is on the new base camp chassis that we just finished last week. It's not mounted, nothing. Trimmer's truck we're saving for last, the best for last. So this is not mounted at all. This is another one that is inspired from YouTube. Surfboard. This one's inspired from YouTube, and the Fab Rats again. So here we got the base camp build that we're working on. Oh yeah, I do have one more before the trimmers. So it's fun to follow up the Land Rover with this, because this is what is under the Land Rover. Exactly. Except this one, I did not do the shock mod on this one yet, because I got to get 4 longer screws and 4 washers. I don't have a motor in it yet. Servos in it, no receiver. But this is exactly, except that it should be lower like this. This is the same Axial base camp kit, except there's no sliders on it. That the Land Rover we just did is on. Is it same size tires? These are actually like the same BFGs, nearly, and same kind of rims that Fab Rats have on their Willie's wagon. So one of the challenges, you'll see why I talk so fondly of the Red Cat chassis. The motor is always way up in the front, and the FMS Jimny, Michigan, FJ, everything FMS, the motor's way up here too, with that really slick transmission, which makes it where you don't have to do a whole lot of messing around to maintain your interiors. The motor's not even on here yet, but it goes right here. And here's the big honking transmission. So you can see the challenges that you have. And again, with the cross member and the shock towers and everything bolt to, there's the cross member there that's a little over flush, but you need it for the shock towers. And you can see the profile of the chassis rail. Back here, I'm flat on the Land Rover. So that means that from here to there is all, and for the shock towers, is all cut out on the floor of that Land Rover to make it sit as flat as I could. I figure start as low as you can to the chassis, and you can always go up from there. It's a little easier to just plan it that way. And then for me, I like how rigid it is if the body's sitting actually on the frame. So that's what I had done on that one. But I'm taking my time on this because I'm thinking about ways to, there's a lot of room to spread out these shock towers before you get into any impedance in the wheel well or the side of the body itself. So I'm taking my time on this because my intention is to split out these shock towers with some all thread or space, whatever, something. Oh yeah, it's going to be RC Bill. Yeah. It's going to be on a leaf sprung chassis though, or I can't decide yet if this Willys wagon is going to be on a Red Cat chassis where the motor's up in the front and I can maintain interior. But this one, I got to solve the whole interior. So it may be on this. I don't know. But with the International, it's got such a nice floor on it that that's going to definitely be another Jimny chassis, especially at 179, or the Red Cat with the motor up front so I can keep as much of that interior as possible. So this one probably will be this one. And it's going to be super fun to get the patina going on this and everything. So I'm looking forward to it. I got to tell you, on the Land Rover, I have two different thicknesses of Lexan I'm making windows with. Because the Land Rover windows, those side windows were so small, it made sense to use my super thin stuff for the windows on that. But any of these things that have like, look how it's, look how the sill, how thick the body is and the window sill is. I'm going to easily be able to use that trim material that Kelly provided to work this one out. And this, yeah, this fits pretty good on here, actually. So this Willys wagon probably will be another base camper. And that's okay because, you know, again, this is inspired from YouTube. And the one they're making is fully built. It's on coilovers, just the same. So I'm pretty good with this one not being on leaf springs and being on one of my coilover chassis, whether it's the Red Cat chassis or the base camp. And I keep repurposing International parts. So we already talked about this the other day. Like these bent seats are going to be really good for this Willys wagon, I think. And the International truck, I keep using the bits for it. So these door cards are probably going to make their way inside here. I'll just use them for as much stuff as I can. That's what's up. All right, two more. Best for last. Yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm pumped about it. But I keep putting my effort onto the trimmer's truck because it's been super fun to do. And I want to run it before the weather gets bad. I want to make a video on it. and get it to my dad. That's not close. There we go. This needs, I might need to slide an axle out just a little bit, but there's no problem in getting that done. This one's really exciting to me as well. And it fits really amazing on a Jimny chassis. So this is the International Travelall. And Bill had asked me if I was going to make this one RC, and he's probably asking me because I printed off the chassis that came with the files, mostly just so I could have it as a reference if we decided to get some cut. Like, I may have this chassis made in metal so I can preserve the floor. If I'm doing leaf springs, I think I can make it happen. So this is the International Travelall. It's kind of on the back burner, but it's been sanded and filled. It's I love it. It came with loads of amazing files. So I really am digging this body, and you can see how many prints it was to make it happen. It's pretty big. And I stretched it out in the printing process to 115.41 up from 100 to give it a 13-inch wheelbase, which is what all these chassis are I'm using, basically. So if I left it at 100, it'd have been 11 and 3/4 inch wheelbase. I don't have anything like that. So you can see what I'm talking about. This interior is nice, and it fits on the chassis with the files, which you have to assume are scale. These are the bench seats that came with this. And I'd like to preserve the floor in this one. And the dash is amazing. The files for this whole thing were just dynamite. And then these door cards go with it. Where's the gray ones? I printed so many of them off. Where'd I set them? Well, whatever. So the door card files are super thick, and I'm like, that sucks. So that's when I experimented with there they are. These, making them skinnier. But I'm going to be able to repurpose them on all kinds of things. I mean, they're kind of heavy bodies in a way, for sure. But I think if you can get away with this weighs more than a Lexan body would. But I think you can get away with, and the door cards are just going to make it dynamite in there. You know? Come on. So, yeah, I printed off their baloney, plastic chassis and fake leaf spring and axles. So if I wanted to try to get these chassis rails cut or know what I need to make, I can do it. And I knew it would be a minute before, and it's all so well appropriated. So look at these body mounts. The posts are there for that, so you can't miss it. The dash is amazing. I already screwed that on. This silver stuff is silver silk. Look at that dash. Silver silk PLA bamboo style. But I knew it'd be a minute before I really truly got to this one. So I thought, you know what? Let's have this sitting on the, and you can see how well it fits. Like, and I thought, you know what? Let's do the panel version. And I think I may try to get a Cricket, but I'm thinking of having something, some kind of old school branding or something on the panel. But dude, this fits so stinking good right on that interior. It just dialed. And you know, when I'm looking at wheelbases, I think I nailed it. Just maybe a tick more than 13. Not by much. 13 and a quarter. You got a little wiggle room. PPACF or PLACF? From my limited experience, I'm feeling like the carbon fiber stuff is actually fairly brittle. So I don't know. I just wanted to do it for having a prototype of it. A 1949 F1 Ford. If the files exist, I can do it. Custom trucks, though, for hire is somewhere I'm not at yet. But you know, save up $1,500, $2,000, I'll do you one. But yeah, I'm so pumped about this Travelall. It's gonna look killer. I'm gonna patina it. This may be the one that I show you guys how I do salt chipping on. Part of me wants to just play around though with some of my paints. A lot of times I'll do multiple layers and sand through. The thing about the 3D prints is, even as good as that bamboo is, there's always some lining in it. A little bit of lining. And I don't really want to see that. So I'm thinking about using the paint instead of sanding down through it like I do on the Lexan stuff. Little bit of salt chipping, just got to scrub that off. And then using other kinds of patina and weathering techniques is probably the way to go. So I don't show the lining, because I'm doing a lot of paint and sand and fill and paint and sand to make the seams disappear and any of the lining go away. I did a bunch to where these headlight or the tail lights go on top of where the tail lights are. Looks pretty smooth. You could totally see the lines there in the filament. So filled and sanded and filled and sanded. So it's coming along. It's coming along. I'm pretty pumped about this Travelall for sure. But dudes, so yeah, this will probably be on another Jimny chassis, or if I can work out a TF2. I think I want this on leaf springs because I want to keep that interior, I guess. You know, I don't know why it matters if I keep the interior, because you can't see it because it's a panel truck. They have another file of this though with the windows open, so I could have done that. I still could. These files were like $25. That's it. And there's a ton of stuff there that you can repurpose, like I have, for everything. This engine's the wrong size, but I mean, get out of town. So see how narrow this roof is? And see how not narrow this one is? So much bigger and shorter. Same roof. same roof file. So bamboo, man, you can do it. You can make it happen. And I did. So this roof here is just needs stretched out. And I can have a roof on the Winnebago. So Ramsey and Sons work truck, that's pretty good. I was also thinking of like YouTube, my YouTube, which totally needs a rebrand. I don't know what to call this show either, but we're sticking with Pilot Ryan Media for now. But my RC life feels really appropriate also sometimes. But yeah, before I get done, there's a little bit of mud. All this white stuff is drywall mud that's been sanded down and everything. I want to kind of try my weathering paints to see how it holds to this mud, and go from there. And this looks pretty bad, but I've got it filled pretty good. And it was the way it was oriented when I printed it. But I kind of, it's like I had to decide, would I rather finish this easy to work surface that's flat and maintain as much of the scale fidelity of this really cool back contouring, or would I rather have all that crazy baloney to finish back here where there's holes and hinges and the head and the tail lights and stuff? So I think I made the right call. It'll do it. I'll do it here. And like I said, probably salt chip this. So it'll be pretty nice. And we'll also, I always like flat paints are not going to shine off with sandpaper. So this will be all right. Now, the coup de grace right now, dudes, is this. And I'm going to turn the lights down so it's not blown out. I am so pumped about this thing. I'm super excited to get it finished up so I can, we're done with this because the phone's about dead. I'm plugging it in. I'm going to go ahead and leave. Okay. Can you hear me? You should be able to. Trimmer's truck. Dad's truck is coming along so good. In my mind, I can't wait to get it mounted to the chassis. But for painting and doing my patina stuff I want to do, being able to get it off the chassis easily is amazing. So I want to just show you JCB Jim. I need to talk to Nate. I was thinking about that today because I need to reach out to him because I want to, I've mentioned it to him before, but now that Brian's been on, maybe they'll be ready to go. But I'll definitely I'd love to have Nate and Abby on the show, but I got to work that out with them, obviously. Work in progress, super fun project. Headlight things are happening. The grill's happening. I need to paint the bumpers white on this. These are basically the scale rims that were on this. This is on another Jimny chassis. Now, there's only that much hole cut out in the floor because it's the FMS transmission, right? So yeah, I printed off I've got inner fenders for a minute. So we're going to put the black ones on Dad's truck. Not today with y'all, but that's where it's going to go. But dude, let me put it back together for a minute. So a little bit of sanding and filling. I'm thinking about trying to pick up a Cricut for the stencil I need to do for Earl and Val and Earl's odd jobs. But it's looking pretty good. Servos on it, motors installed, don't have the ESC in it. Like I said, super tons of mods to this Jimny chassis to make it work. But man, the hole for the transmission is dialed. And last time we were talking about this, I was working on the diamond plate bumper and couldn't wait to get the tailgate going. Bro. Look at that. So I've caulked like seams where the bumpers meet the fenders are looking tight. The diamond plate bumper, I'm just building up on it before I do the white and the rust. The wood is real wood, cut to fit. I am over the moon on this thing. So yeah, I have done some of the caulking that I was wanting to do to close the gaps where the bumper meets the fender. You can see the white. I was doing some of that today. Just over the moon about the stupid green tailgate. Just digging it. And this is leaf sprung. Mike had to watch the film. So I'm tickled. So this is Matt from Scale Builders Guild with just a basic base coat of paint on there. Nothing really done, but enough. And then I tried my best. You can look at the back of the seat here. The back of the seat to emulate the upholstery that was on it in the movie. And yeah, I'm okay with a little seam here on the deck plate because this thing was fabbed up with the deck plate on there, the diamond plate. That is not a stock thrift side either. So I kept looking at the movie and clips from the movie as much as I could to figure out how to do it. We have shrunk the fenders so they're more appropriate now. Everything fits amazingly. Another Jimny chassis, leaf sprung and adjusted. This one has had more customization to get it right on this wheelbase for the body and ride height than anything. So normally I'll just do this one and this one on both sides and kind of fix the pinion angle and drop it a little bit. I also did it on the rear ones as well, did a bunch of cutting so I could drop it back there as well. And it doesn't look like it's been done, but it's been done. And on the front also. So 8 places got super modified so I could bring this thing down. Dad loves the truck and trimmers, man. Dude, every time we talked, he would mention that. You got to check out that movie. You got to check out that deal. And then once we started making these things, it was like trimmer's truck. So I have to make me one too. But I'm so tickled with how this is working out. So it's not going to be too hard to figure out mounting the bed. No problem. I kind of want to figure out a floor though. I do have the interior there, but I need a floor. So that's got to happen. There were 3 movies, but the truck from the first one is the best. And the fact that they're arguing about who's going to name the monster kills me dead. Every time I'm talking about that movie, that's what it is. But yeah, I love the mill marks on the wood from these are rips from either jam extensions or something that I had done on the house. And I found these pieces of wood in the sawdust bag from my table saw. And I cut them down and sanded them down and made them fit and then greened them up at lunch today at Splasters. So I'm tickled. And these are really appropriate looking tires and definitely appropriate looking rims. And I'm over the moon about the ride height now. I'm looking forward to doing the patina and rust stuff on this one and getting the mirrors on. And I'm not going to do the windows until everything's done. I've got a dashboard for it that has to go in. Where is it? That's not it. Where'd I put it? I just saw it before the show. Hold on a minute. It needs painted, though. And so what I used on the interior for this, yep, Kevin Bacon. The interior of this is the interior for the Vanquish Fordyce, which has the same kind of footprint and body mounting and side rails and everything as my FJ45. So I bought the files for the Fordyce, scaled them up. The Fordyce is basically a Willys truck that's very much built like the FJ45. I was like, this will be perfect. So I bought the Fordyce files and used it for this. And so this dash is from the Fordyce as well. I got to figure out, and this is a big steering wheel from the international files, but looks a lot like the one that's in the movie. Fred Ward, that's right. So this probably won't go in right this minute very well because the driver's in the way. I don't want to get everything apart again. And I had to cut a lot for this dash to fit. That's why I know with the driver in the way, it's not going to go. Unless I can move him for a minute. But, you know, you chop and chop and chop and you get it to work. And if you don't like it, print another one. Yeah, he is in the way. See ya. Lolly sticks. Yeah, I was gonna use paint stir sticks, but I found those pieces with I like the cut marks on them. This fits. It's just not fitting right now. But I want to get the paint stuff done before I do the windows and all that. Oh yeah, because of the motor, I got a cut on the dash. That's why. It did fit until I put the motor on. But yeah, over the moon about this project a lot. And man, I posted up on Facebook last couple days. I posted up the travel all and it got some attention. And I posted up a question. I took a back shot of this and told everybody to guess the movie. And dude, everybody nailed it. Most people got it right. It was actually super fun. So yeah, some things to figure out here. There may be a crate or some kind of box in the back to house the battery. I don't want to cut the hood at this point. I got so much paint and fill and stuff. I don't want to cut and hinge the hood, and I'd rather have it not open than be a little bit janky and lose some of the integrity of the thing. But yeah, some white paint and rust on the diamond plate, white paint on the bumper. Need a little medallion or something on that grill. Print off there's like a green suitcase, there's a gas can. I got some of that stuff already. There's a thing full of brooms and junk. I'd like to do some of that anyway, too. But I'm gonna end up wanting to put lights on it too. I just know. But yeah, dude, with my patina and stuff, and then the stencils on here, this thing is rocking. Get the windows put in, and it'll be pretty solid. It's fitting really good on this wheelbase. It was a lot of work to get it right. And I did and undid things a couple times to get it right, but I'm liking how things center on the arches now and be able to have a little bit of space on that bed like you would. Just a little, and it's damn near right on the wheelbase. So there's the grill. Jimny, leaf sprung chassis. Super customizable, super affordable, especially if you go looking at other scale leaf sprung kits that are out there. Boom Racing is about to release a truck. Everything they do is Land Rover, and I feel like I have that covered. But they have a truck coming out, like some old truck that I really want it bad. But if I get that kit, then I'll do that truck. I kind of like just having access to chassis, though, to make whatever I want. So, guys, that's my crawler life. I went through it. That is what's up. Handful of projects, half done. Nice to have the golden nugget back. That was my first Jimny modification experiment. And now knowing what I know and how I've dropped things and done what I've done, I'm going to get into that and drop it a little bit. The reason I have 2 2s on there is because once you flip the axles, it set so high, it looked goofy on regular size tires. So I got 2.2s to make it look appropriate. But now I can do some stuff. That one still has all the leaves in it. I didn't tuck up the shackles or anything yet on that one. So I probably will. And tell me in the comments if you want to see running videos on this stuff. Some of it you may have to ask for. Some of it I'm just going to do. I definitely want to document this one before I get rid of it. And I think I might be onto something with making trucks from YouTube or movies. I think it's kind of neat. And we'll see how far I can take it. How scale can I make it? Do I care a lot or just a little? I think just a little, but we'll see. This kind of stuff kills me. The diamond plate and the wood tailgate. The only thing I wanted different on that tailgate is there's a license plate on it, and it wasn't the original tailgate. It looked like it was angle iron and the wood. I wasn't going to buy the angle iron files, so I just worked with what I had. But there it is. And I'm over the moon about those. I mean, even if I don't do Jimneys, I should try to buy those transmissions. Just adding that much to the motor itself and being done. No big goofy. All the reduction is in that little transmission. So cool. So cool. There's like 6 trimmer movies. Everybody agreed that the first one was the best one. So this has been sitting up there over the last few days. And then thank goodness for the Thursday show because it really gets me motivated. Last week, I knocked out that deck plate. This week, I actually sanded this whole thing again and did some. I used caulk and cleaned up and filled a bunch of stuff. And when you thin that caulk out, you can kind of paint with it. So my sharp edges and stuff are starting to really clean up. And I'm just over the moon about this back end. I cannot say enough. Check on my Instagram story for a nice picture in the sunshine of it. I'm over the moon about so much of this. I appreciate you guys for doing it with me. I'm tickled to actually have a roof with a radius on it on that golden nugget now. Good things. Good things are happening. And, you know, custom trucks are amazing, but there's something really neat about when it's from a movie. It was cool to watch everybody guess. That post is doing amazing. And it was just a picture of the back end of that trimmer's truck. So I'm pretty pumped about that. We'll see who else we can interview, you know, on the air side. I got my ultra micro slow stick in this week. I was going to make a list of what I wanted to do. I'll just watch the video if I have 2.5 hours to kill. Never. Guys, appreciate you. Thanks so much. I mean, honestly, without this whole channel, I wouldn't get a chance to do this stuff. It's been a blessing. And I'm just over the moon about having this bamboo. And my wife said I should write, yeah, Dad. My wife said I should write Cricket email as well and see if I can't. You can make shirts and stickers and stencils and all kinds of stuff with a Cricket. So maybe that's what I need for the Val and Earl Odd Jobs stencil. It's got to be right. It's got to be right. It's got to be right. The mirrors need to be right. Gas fuel filler tube needs to be right. Yeah. Good times. Thanks so much. So yeah, I as much as I'm like, what kit do we build next? Did you guys like that when we did the base camp, like in a series like that? Should we do something else? Tonight's show was I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I got the golden nugget back. Let's just go through the. That was kind of fun, and a chronology just went through the yeah, V&E odd jobs. I mean, basic stencils, like nothing fancy. Definitely no graphic designer put that together, but that's what is so good about it. The Sanford and Son truck. That is good. Right down to the metal bed frame in the back. Oh, the Sanford truck. I'm going to pull that up on my phone again. Hold on. We'll let you go in a minute, you guys. Let's see. Yeah, I really want to wrap up some of these. You know, last night I went hard on the Land Rover because I'm like, it was bugging me. The seats weren't in it. I didn't have the windows in or the interior figured out. I'm gonna put those door cards in and call it a day on that one. I got to cut just a little bit to get the door cards in on the door card, but the cut will hide next to the bench seat, so it's fine. Your other brother, Fred Sanford. I love that show. Let's see, real quick. See, you know, if I get good at this, I wouldn't mind doing customs. But I'm telling you, I'm thinking TV shows, movies, and like YouTube rock crawler built rigs kind of people. I think that's mean. That's mean looking. What is that? An old Ford? Yeah, 51. Especially if I get the stencil stuff worked out. Airplane parts in the bed. Oh, yeah. It's got to be rusty too. Man, look at those fenders. And as far as fabbing up stuff, only a 3D printer, right, can do it. Watch the intro. I would. Okay. Um, what is it? A 51? Does that one guy have a 51 Ford Bill that I got the travel off from? Elizabeth, I'm coming to meet you, Elizabeth. Yeah, it's pretty mean. See, I don't think a truck like that needs to be made a crawler. That's not bad, Fred. I don't think it needs to be a crawler. Even though I want everything to go off road a little bit. But those tires and those rims he's got on there, pretty good. Boy, that thing's got curves. That's good looking. Boy, that front end is crazy. I don't know. Would it be better jacked up just a little bit so you can crawl it, or do you just make a scale one? I think if you're just making a scale one, that's where you can get away with the you don't need the strength of a metal chassis, you know? It would be a great crawler. I feel like the those cool fenders that make it so iconic would be in the way, though. We'll see. We'll figure out something. That truck, man. Let me see if I can find the boom racing truck. Wait a minute. What? 10 scale. FMS just came out with a new one. FCX 10 LC 80. This is Toyota. Oh man. I wonder if it's on. So they just released some new ones. Guys, are you with me? Let's pull it up. Bro, we're going to go look at it. I'll share it with you on the screen. Hold on a minute now. I may have to have it, dude. FMS LC 80 FCX 10. So they released some crawlers the other day that are they're more like Traxxas than this Jimny stuff that I've been doing. Man, they should send me one of these. Are there pictures? Yes. Bro. All right. Hold on a minute now. Let's do it. Present. Share. Share. Okay. We'll make this right. Hold on a minute now. I don't need to see me. Just need to know that it's going. Look at that Toyota. $299 pre-order, save $50. If that's Lexan, it's got so many bits on it that looks like a really nice body. Dude's hat's ridiculous. Okay, so this isn't, that looks like portal axles, maybe? It's oh, here we go. Dude, yeah, this is one of theirs that they really took notes from the TRX 4s. Definitely not like a Jimny chassis or anything like that. Wow. Let's see what if they tell us wheelbase at all. Where's the specs at on this site? Dude. They get, man. Kind of interesting that, Horizon just did the Lexus, and which makes you think that they got Toyota figured out. And here FMS has Toyota going as well. Features, what's in the box, specs. 325, that's big, right? Hold on a minute. 325 millimeters. Divided by 25.4. 12.79. So almost 13-inch wheelbase. That's right on. All right. They had a video, right? Didn't they have a video? Thought they had a video of this. I like it. High gear, low gear, axle mounted servo, straight axle. Their cool transmission. The tires look a little bit like Swampers. Um, I thought I just saw they had a video. There it is. I'm cool with that. That's neat. One more time. Dude, did influencers do anything on this today? Dudes. Bro. Was I going to look up something else? All right. So, yeah. Um, did I just see that like by accident? I think I must have. All right. Dude, we're pushing 3 hours. That's good. Thanks for coming by. That was a cool walk down little crawler lane, crawler something. Who knows? We'll never name it. We'll just keep count for now. Pre-order. There's so much stuff I want. I'm a little bit curious. Dude, it does look awesome. Little tiny base camps are available now. That's cool. I like the 10 scale stuff. We're doing okay on the Facebook post. Man, that picture looks good in the sun with the you can't tell, can you? You can't tell on Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, I think you guys can see what I do all over the place there. Fun. That was a cool show. Dad, thanks. Thank you so much, everybody. That's fun. I always look forward to Thursday, look forward to Sunday. We'll have to figure out what's up with interviewing somebody. We'll unbox and build the Ultra Micro Slow Stick. What a fun little walk. though. Got windows to do. I've got this cool trim stuff that's going to be really good for the windows that have um, a substantial like sill kind of to it. Too big for the little Land Rover side windows, but I think it's going to be really great for other stuff. Maybe just front windows on the Travelall. I started keeping when I print my black carbon fiber, you always but Fred, you know what I'm talking about. You always end up getting these things off the print bed. You've got the one that's an L, and then you've got the little smaller gauge ones, whatever. And these little strips of black thin filament um, are good little window deals, especially because the one you already have a 90-degree on it, and then the cutoff is your straight bit. You're halfway there. Kind of cool. Callie, yeah. Mike Bird. Some of you guys ordered a little base camp. Yeah, thanks so much, you guys. Think of me when you let go of it. It helps tremendously. Thank you so much, you guys. What a fun time. We'll see you in the next one. We'll see you Sunday for the air side of life. We'll see you next time. We're out of here in 5. Hanger rats forever for now. I don't know what else to say. We'll 3 you later. You're too good to be forgotten. We'll see you next time. Bye now. Boom. Bye.